People. It is I, Whimsy. Um, I have some complicated remote views I want to try and talk to you guys about. I had a very funny evening. I did a lot of laughing, which is good. I think laughter is good. It was fun Sunday to get together with everybody, and we're getting more Israelis, which I think is great. But the problem with that is that I start to speak in Hebrew and and Yiddish and we were having a lot of fun on Sunday, but then it dawned on me that people didn't have any idea what we were talking about. So I apologize for that. But I was thinking about my time in Israel, and I was thinking of funny cultural stories because some of you had asked questions about cultural comparisons, Jewish people versus, say the British, how the British would look at a particular situation. Well, this is how a British mind is. You're half British, Whimsy, and your mother's side is Jewish and raised Jewish. My father identified as Jewish. Um, so the joke is the British they're like poodles, right? They're very brainy and they like to be neat, right? Like a poodle, very smart, and we like to be. And Jewish people are like Labradors. It's like they're with the whole heart, like golden retrievers, Labradors. And so I joke that the Jewish side of me and the British side, we come together, and I'm a Labradoodle. It's like they're completely crazy. But they are hypoallergenic. So that's what you get when you combine. But my friend Masha and I, we used to go to movies all the time in Israel, Jerusalem, and we went to see The Remains of the Day. And I had been a nanny in London, and she couldn't figure the film out. The Remains of the Day with Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson. And as we were walking home from Ben Yehuda, my friend Masha kept saying, "I don't understand. I don't get it." I said, "Well," I kept trying to explain to her, "Well, he was the butler, she was the maid." Yeah, I know, but like, I don't get it. I mean, it's like they're both single. Yes, they were both single. So they both got jobs. Yeah. Well, so why didn't they date? Like, why don't they go on a shidduch? Like, why don't they go on a match? Like, I don't get it. So, and I was thinking about that tonight, and I was like, that's really funny. Like, I actually like was laughing really hard. Like, from her perspective, I don't get it. I don't get the whole film. I don't get the whole premise. Well, they were going through issues. I kept trying to explain, well, they had like mental stuff going. She's like, who cares? We're Jewish. We all have stuff going on. We still get married. We have kids. We have families. Like she couldn't, there was 2 hours. The whole entire thing was lost on her. And so I just thought that was very, very funny how, how cultures deal with situations. No, they couldn't be together because they had emotional stuff. So I just thought that was very funny. Just a good laugh to have, that we can all have a good laugh about that. I had touched upon in the previous remotes Iran. I wanted to talk a little bit about Iran now that I can breathe again. Sorry about earlier today. This is a complicated remote, but you know how in the Torah we're starting to all get really consciously aware of how often in the Bible, in the Torah, jealousy keeps coming up, envy. Be very careful that others are not envious of you. Play it down, tone it down. There's a real awareness in the Torah that coveting, envy, jealousy you need to nip it in the bud. Don't as soon as it shows up, nip it in the bud, because if it festers, you're going to have a problem. And what I like about the Torah's view is that it puts it out there and says this is part of human nature, that we start wanting other people's stuff and then we start hating them, and that something happens to us psychologically and then we become negative. And inevitably, when we go back to the source of the negativity, if we go backwards, it's because we think someone has taken something that belongs to us, or we have a right. I seek justice absolute. That's good. But just make sure you're clear in your head that you haven't told yourself a story, right? You got your facts straight, right? Because it's very dangerous, right? The evil eye, right? When are we most vulnerable? When it's your wedding day, right? Oh, she's a pretty bride. Oh, you don't want to attract someone's resentment. So you always have to be very careful you don't want to be dancing around saying, well, we're better than you are, right? So, uh, like, how can we diffuse the situation? When I go into the meditations with Iran, it's kind of interesting because I'm aware of that as a nation, this feeling that I've been left out. I feel hurt. Remember, we're talking about human emotions. It doesn't matter whether or not the vehicle they're using to express their hurt is anti-Semitism or the protocols of the elders of Zion or reprinting anti-Semitic literature from those are just vehicles that they're using. But the fundamental issue is that if you understand the psychology, it's really not about any of that. It's somebody who is emotionally distraught because they feel that they've been left out, and now they're looking for some kind of logistical reason to justify why they're mad at you or why they feel this resentment for you, right? So now they're looking for an intellectual justification. So I think that is how we have to view Iran. They feel left out of the Abraham Accords. They're very upset. You left me out of the party. There's this big party going on. What if we were to view Iran in that way, the way the Torah would view it, just as psychological terms? What if we were to give that a try? Iran is very economically repressed, suppressed by sanctions. The sanctions are hurting. They're being left out in the cold. But things are going great in our tent. Hey, Abraham. Woohoo! Our tent is whitening. Hey, Dubai. Great fish. Thank you. Right? We're having a great time over here in Abraham's tent, the Abraham Accords. Hello, Bahrain. Ooh, hello, United Arab Emirates. Come on over, Saudi. So how do you think the rest of us feel? What about even little old Iran? Well, we're getting sanctions. We're broke. We're poor. And you're getting the money. So how do you deal with that once you see that situation for what it is? So the president of Iran goes to Saudi Arabia because he's upset, not because he cares about Palestinians. That's just a ruse. It's because they are upset because they got left out of the Abraham Accords, right? Let's keep it real. They didn't get invited to the party. They didn't get invited to Abraham's tent. So what do we really want? We want a piece of the pie. Israel gets a piece of the pie. Bahrain gets maybe a piece. Dubai gets a piece. Saudi. I want a little piece. I want a piece of your piece, your piece, your piece. And then if you all give me a little bit of the piece, I will maybe back off a little bit from Israel. In plain words, extortion money. This appears to be where we're headed. It's up to Israel to decide what you want to do about it. It's your decision. It's your security, right? So, but this is where you're headed, right? That's where we're headed. You take a shekel. I want half. The pros and cons that Israel's going to have to deal with when you go into this energy. How long is this going to keep Iran happy? First off, you're going to be strengthening their military, because if Israel agrees to that arrangement that they take half or they take a percentage in order not to blow people up, where's the money going? The profits. Where are the profits? Are the profits going to do what exactly? Are we looking at profits for that? Is it going to make Iran happy for 3 to 4 years until they want something else? And until then, what's happening over that 3-4 years? Is the money going to Iran's military? Probably. So before Israel takes that deal, which it wouldn't even be their deal, it would be Saudi Arabia that would be arranging it. Those are the conversations that Israel has to have. Reminds me very much of what happened with Sadat, where Sadat had to make that decision, where they made that decision with Egypt, where there was financial compensation, right? But as I sit with the meeting that took place between the president and the king of Saudi, it's very obvious to me what I want. I want a piece of the pie. Yes, the poor palace, come on. Nobody's offering a single Palestinian woman who's pregnant a safe place to have her children. They don't care. This is about the money, honey. They want a piece of that pie. The Abraham Accords, no money, no honey. What did they say? They said the trade route. We want the trade routes. It was always about the trade routes. For Putin, it was about the trade routes. You owe me a ton of money at AEB Bank. You owe me money at Deutsche Bank. I have tons of losers I've loaned money to. Okay, it's payback. I want you to withdraw troops from Afghanistan because I'm stationing people in Kazakhstan. I want to open the trade route. Everybody knows it's business. Get them out of Afghanistan. I got business with Syria. I got business with Iran. I got business. I got trade routes. I'm trying to open up trade. China and I, new trade routes into Africa. I got to get the U.S. out of the Middle East. So what do? You get Trump to move troops out of the Middle East. What does that do? That makes Israel a sitting duck. So why in the world would a Jewish person who claims to be pro-Israel vote for Trump when he's the one that did this to us? This didn't strengthen Israeli security. We didn't have safe rooms when I was in Israel. This is stuff that happened later as Iran ran amok, right? So the takeaway here is that if Israel takes that deal, there'll be a temporary peace for maybe 3, 4 years. Energetically, it feels like that's the best they can hope for. But until then, they could be theoretically strengthening their enemy, and maybe they'll take that deal, and it will be a temporary thing where they can just say, okay. Uh, they're going to cut this deal with Saudi as a peacemaker, and it's going to be this extension, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think, if you look at the dynamics here and this overwhelming feeling of being left out in the cold, and you know, it's not going to be enough to get a piece of the pie. They're still not going to be in the tent. And so it might appease them for 3, 4 years, but eventually it's going to be, come on, man, when are we going to get in? And then we're going to be in another situation. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this remote. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're trying to get in for a reading, if you need a tarot reading or remote viewing with me, you can find that information below this video. Be well, everyone. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you, too. We'll see you next time. Be well. Bye-bye.